That's right. There is so much good news, so much winning out of the Trump White House right now that the mainstream legacy media...
Forget the usual daytime chatter. This is about a legal bombshell that just exploded across network TV. Karoline Leavitt dropped another legal bomb, filing a second federal lawsuit against The View's hosts, Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny, while the first case is still rolling. No half-hearted apologies. No meek PR statements.
Joy Behar calls her a 10. I mean, how dare she objectify a woman with a this rating system, but it's such a typical thing from a 1.5.
Well said.
This is strategy at its fiercest, backed by airtight receipts, razor-sharp testimony, and a plaintiff who's perfecting the art of silence. Stick around, because in the next few minutes you'll witness how one calculated move turned America's top talk show into a courtroom powder keg, and why nobody in that studio will ever be the same. Just 30 days after Karoline Leavitt's initial defamation suit rocked the studio, she dropped this second complaint with surgical precision, filed in federal court under charges of retaliatory defamation and malicious repetition. The new lawsuit goes far beyond simple name-calling. It alleges that Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny weaponized their microphones to smear Leavitt's reputation, deliberately rehashing claims they knew were under legal scrutiny. Legal analysts point out that this complaint reads more like a sniper's blueprint than a messy tabloid rant. Every quote is time-stamped, each insult matched to prior filings, and the entire package buttressed by expert statements from media law professors and ethicists. By escalating to federal jurisdiction, Leavitt signaled she's not playing defense. She's on offense, aiming to crater ABC's defense strategy before it even takes shape. But that was only the opening salvo. But while the legal cannonballs were still echoing through headlines, The View's hosts were busy lighting another fuse, live on air, flashback to that infamous episode. Instead of dialing back their tone after the first suit, the panel launched into what one insider called an explosive roast session.
While I vow to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this White House.
Joy Behar led the charge, labeling Leavitt a GOP Gen Z plant, while Sunny Hostin fired back that the lawsuit was a choreographed stunt. Then came Whoopi, smirking, pushing her glasses up, and dropping the killer line, "She's lucky we even let her speak." The live audience erupted in applause, producers likely fist-bumping over what looked like comedy gold. In reality, each barb became fresh ammunition. Leavitt's legal team isolated those clips, transcribed the audio, and wove every taunt into their new filing. What seemed like harmless sass on daytime TV was about to blow up in ABC's face, proof that underestimating a quiet plaintiff is a rookie mistake. While the hosts basked in their on-air victory lap, Leavitt's legal team was quietly transforming those sound bites into their deadliest weapon. Yet, once the microphones cooled, Leavitt's lawyers transformed her insult-filled highlight reel into an ironclad case. They chopped hours of footage into bite-sized clips, time-stamped each snide remark, and matched them to Leavitt's original lawsuit timeline. Then they brought in the heavy hitters, media law professors who declared ABC's defense paper-thin and media ethicists who labeled the on-air jabs astonishingly ill-advised. A former federal judge even volunteered an affidavit, suggesting ABC should have settled before this fiasco metastasized. Every expert opinion was meticulously cited in the complaint, creating a legal montage that reads like a forensic autopsy of reckless commentary. This wasn't reactive, it was proactive assault. By the time ABC realized what was coming, Leavitt's squad had already built a near unassailable pyramid of proof. Meanwhile, at ABC headquarters, alarm bells were ringing. No sooner had those expert declarations landed than panic rippled through ABC's corridors, setting off a full-blown crisis behind closed doors. Word of the second suit spread through ABC's halls like wildfire. Executives called emergency meetings. Legal teams worked around the clock. Sponsors hit the brakes. Several paused ad buys within hours, fearing association with pending defamation litigation. An internal memo leaked, revealing that producers had explicitly warned hosts to tone it down on Leavitt's case, but the hosts didn't listen. Budgets for new segments were frozen. A massive promotional campaign for The View was shelved indefinitely. Studio security doubled, not for violent protests, but to shield staff from angry online mobs and picketers demanding host resignations. One veteran producer admitted on Background, "We used to joke about lawsuits. Now we're Googling severance packages." Far from a minor PR hiccup, this was crisis mode.
So it is the belief of this White House and the White House counsel's office that the president was within his executive authority to do that. He is the executive of the executive branch, and therefore he has the power to fire anyone within the executive branch that he wishes to. There's also a case that went before the Supreme Court in 2020, Scala Law LLC versus the Customs, Bureau Protection. I would advise you to look at that case, and that's the legality that this White House is wrestling with.
ABC's iconic talk show teetered daily between shrugging it off or entering full retreat. As the network scrambled to contain the fallout, media experts and legal scholars jumped into the fray, and their verdict was even more explosive. With 2 federal suits dominating the headlines, media attorneys and journalism ethicists descended on the story. One prominent law professor dissected Leavitt's filings on Twitter, calling it an undeniable precedent that could redefine defamation law for all content creators. A journalism scholar argued live on CNN that any on-air host, from ABC to YouTube influencers, now faces the same legal minefield if they lash out without fact-checking. Even the New York Times quietly consulted legal analysts, fearing this showdown extends far beyond a daytime panel. In their view, Leavitt's dual lawsuits have cracked open a conversation about reckless disregard that could rewrite ground rules for everything from podcasts to TikTok commentary. If she wins, the threshold for proving defamation just moved from sidewalk cracks to skyscraper windows, forcing anyone with a mic to reconsider every offhand remark. Now let's turn to Hollywood's rumor mill and the 3 brutal choices ABC faces. But while legal minds dissected the damage, Hollywood insiders whispered about the brutal choices facing ABC's top brass. Inside Hollywood, the buzz is that ABC's leadership is weighing 3 brutal responses to this legal firestorm. One option is to suspend Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny, hoping a high-profile timeout will appease sponsors without dismantling the show's foundation. Another is to cut a massive settlement check and deliver on-air apologies, a humiliating but swift way to stem the bleeding and keep ad dollars flowing. The most drastic choice would be to cancel The View outright, torching a daytime institution to protect the broader network, even if it means abandoning years of brand equity. Insiders suggest the settlement path is currently leading, despite talk of 7-figure demands that could cripple segment budgets. Suspending the hosts risks enraging loyal fans who see it as cowardice, and canceling would hand rivals a gold-plated time slot. With Leavitt's silent stare looming over every boardroom debate, ABC's decision is as much about optics as it is about dollars. And the pressure has never been higher. Amid all the boardroom drama, one truth has become impossible to ignore. The real battle isn't happening on camera. It's being waged in silence. Karoline Leavitt's most potent weapon has been her silence. While The View's hosts shouted into their mics, she let paperwork and expert declarations do the talking. That strategic quiet has shattered the so-called glass castle of untouchable commentary, exposing that real power may now belong to those who plan, not pontificate. Industry insiders say this case could become the blueprint for anyone with an audience, forcing legacy outlets, podcasters, and influencers alike to temper their jabs or risk identical legal reprisals. What was once a comfort zone of off-the-cuff opinion now demands fact-checked caution. Leavitt's twin lawsuits have proven that momentum can be built in whispers, while theatrics deliver the perfect soundtrack for the courtroom. As networks recalibrate their tactics, one truth emerges. In the new media era, silence backed by evidence speaks far louder than any on-air mic drop. Karoline Leavitt's second federal lawsuit isn't just a sequel, it's a blueprint for media accountability in the digital age. With precision court filings and explosive on-air moments, she's forced networks to rethink free speech and face the consequences of unchecked commentary. Will legacy outlets learn caution, or will they double down on risk? Tell me what you think in the comments. If you're here for the full story, smash like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. This is Sasha Spills signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.